All right, I am recording.
Okay. There we
Sweet.
go.
Dude, how are you?
I'm really good, man.
Good.
How are you doing? How are your fingers?
The fingers are really coming along.
Oh, good.
Yeah, with each passing week, they're feeling better and better. So, yeah, that was kind of rough to go out to my project and get one day on it, and then 2 days later, just like, whoa, what just happened? So, but
Yeah.
it's all part of the game we play. So, yeah, how was Waco?
Waco is amazing, man. Yeah, I've wanted to go there for a really long time, and
Is that your first time
it's my
there?
first time there. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
and it,
yeah,
it definitely
yeah.
lived up to it, and I'm kind of excited right now because I get to find out in the next couple weeks just how effective it was as far as training, you know?
Yeah, yeah, totally.
I first signs are really good, but I also have switched back over to sport climbing and I kind of need to get my flow back, you know? I'm like over gripping everything and
Yeah,
climbing hesitantly, but
yeah,
I feel really good. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty fired up.
It's funny you say that. I have a lot of athletes that are transitioning as well, and I've been prescribing this drill I call "hang on loosely but don't let go,"
Mm,
and during their warm ups, they're really focusing on that. Starting at the warm up level and then slowly trying to climb harder boulders where you're just kind of barely hanging on. And I think I've prescribed it now to 3 athletes, and every one of them have come back and they're like, this is so hard because I've been bouldering so much. I'm just used to like death grip and everything. So
right.
yeah. Yeah. You're in St. George now
I
then?
am, yeah. Yeah, I've been climbing at
Cool.
the cathedral and Wailing Wall
Cool.
a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
recording in a grocery store parking lot right now,
Awesome. Awesome.
being resourceful. But yeah,
Totally.
it's good to be back here. And
Yeah.
I think the cool thing is I noticed that transition is a little faster every time,
Yeah.
you know, from
Yep.
bouldering back to sport or vice versa, learning how to
Hmm.
switch modes. I think it goes a little bit smoother, a little quicker each time. So
Yeah. Good.
yeah.
Good.
But
Cool.
yeah, some of the steeper, burly sport routes that I tried last year that were either super hard or just were really intimidating to me,
Hmm.
they feel pretty good this year.
Oh,
I'm
I
like, oh, I can
bet.
do this.
I bet. I bet. How long were you in
Yeah.
Waco?
About 10 weeks.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It was good. I think I'll do it again, but I think I'll shift it up and target, you know, the colder months. March was a little warm and windy and kind of weird.
Yep.
And it's funny. I was only climbing 3 days a week, and I'll share
Hmm.
this in a whole episode. I'm gonna do a Steve Maish, but
Yeah.
yeah, we had this program we were doing, and I was deloading, but I don't think I was taking the deload seriously enough. Like I was only climbing 3 days a week, and I think I still managed to overdo it a little bit, and really felt that
Yeah.
towards the end. So,
Okay. Yeah.
but I think it was all good training. I'm feeling really good now
Yeah.
after some rest, so
Awesome.
I'm psyched.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
Tell me a little bit more about your project in the Pooter Canyon.
So, yeah, so it's a sit down start to there's this problem up there called divergence, and it's a beautiful boulder problem, and I love the guidebook description. It says 2 types of climbers diverge at this problem: those that can do it and those that cannot. Most fall into the latter category. And so it's this V9. Divergence is a V9 that has just one of the craziest moves I've ever done on rock, where you basically have 2 crimps and you pull on, and you got a decent left foot, but the right foot is basically a smear and it's overhanging. And you take these 2 crimps and you fire into an undercling
Mm,
off a right foot smear. And then there's some more moves to the top, which aren't easy, but they're not as hard as that low percentage move. And so that's the V9. And then years ago, I'm not even sure who I don't know if Sam Rothstein put the sit start up or who did actually, but the sit start adds 1, 2, 4 moves, and then you're into the stand start.
mm,
And so The hard part is that the stand start has such a low percentage move. And then the sit start, the second move is super low percentage as well. And so last year, throughout the whole year, I only did that move 5 times. And so
The second
you
move.
look at that, yeah, the second move on the sit, and it's like, oh my gosh, like I've only given myself 5 attempts to do the boulder all season. Okay. And I'm close every time, but it's like this big bump move and you got to latch a small crimp. And so, man, this first session out on it, which was May 6th, it was pretty cool. I had a Climb Strong athlete from Virginia in town. And so I was showing him a bunch of areas near Fort Collins. And then we went up there, and it was a great day. And man, I did that move 8 times that day. And 3 of those times I was in the undercling and then my foot popped.
Oh,
And so I left that day like, oh man, it is definitely going down, like maybe next session. And that was on a Monday. Tuesday, I didn't feel anything that day. Tuesday I came, didn't feel anything. Wednesday I went in to Whetstone and was warming up, and I was like, whoa, my fingers feel tired still. But I was scheduled to climb with the owner. We climb on the moon board together every Wednesday. And this is where I just should have known better. And, there was part of me that didn't want to let him down. Like, oh, he really looks forward to this. So I warmed up. And as I warmed up, the fingers got better. But that's the day I screwed up. That's the day I should have been like, man, I'll hang out here and we'll climb. I'll, give you suggestions on what to try on the moon board, but I cannot climb on this thing. So, yeah, that's where I went wrong, because after you get hurt, I'm analyzing my training and this and that. And it's like, I did everything right up until the days after I had that really high intensity session on the sit down start to divergence. So,
dang.
But I'm not giving up hope. I do think, it's starting to get a little warm up there, but I think if I can get on it a few more times, I think I can still get it done.
Okay.
The other thing that kind of sucks about the pooter in the spring is the ticks come out.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about like, oh, there's 1 or 2 ticks. Like there's been times where I've gotten back to the truck and I've had like 12 ticks on me.
Oh, that just freaks me out, dude.
It's disgusting.
Little demon bugs.
And so Carly and I were up there on Sunday climbing around, and we saw some ticks, and then, we found some on our dog. So it's just like, so we definitely have to leave Frankie at home when I go up there, but it's just another little thing you got to kind of battle up there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you said a minute ago, you said May 6th. Did you mean April 6th? Was that session?
Oh, I'm sorry. March.
Okay.
6th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So it's been a bit now.
It's been a bit.
Yeah. So, so yeah, it is what it is. And, I think I'll get a few more sessions in on it. And, if I have to just kind of let that one until the fall, like, so be it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's hard, man. I dealt with that in Waco. I've talked about this already on the show, but I had a minor pulley injury, and luckily I was able to keep climbing through it, and it's getting better and better. But there were a couple weeks of just, it's fully denial, it's like the full grief process where you're telling yourself a story that's trying to minimize it. You're trying to find all these ways to like work around it and keep climbing hard and not change this plan that you've put a lot of thought into. And yeah, I think it's the hardest part of the injury process is accepting accepting how serious it is, and being willing to just press pause on all the things that you had planned and reevaluate and do whatever makes the most sense to heal your finger and not make it any worse.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I look back at that, and so it happened on March 6th, and then 2 weeks later, I actually went up there to try it one more time, and it's just like, what are you doing? Like, and I had actually a pretty good session on it, but and it's all just delaying the inevitable, which is you got to lay off it a little bit, And so that week prior, it's like, that was a Monday. Wednesday, I was on the moon board. I knew there was a massive snowstorm snowstorm coming in that weekend. So I was like, well, I'm going to also go in on Friday and Saturday because I'm going to be stuck at my house for several days, which I was. But it's just like, if I would have just been smarter earlier on, you know, mid to end March, I'd probably been feeling so much better.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
Those
lessons that somehow we have to keep learning over and over again.
Yeah, it was a good reminder for me. I literally have not even had a finger tweak since 2011.
Oh wow.
And so I think it was a really good reminder for me about and not there again, not that I feel like I did anything wrong in my training, my hangboarding or anything like that, but just like, being able to, that day at Whetstone be like, I can't climb today. Like I need to I think if I would have walked out the door that Wednesday and maybe even taken one more day off, I don't even know if I would have been dealing with it. So,
Dang, man. Well, I'm glad it's on the mend.
Yeah. It's feeling good.
Yeah.
So
got the whole Rocky Mountain season ahead of you.
Yep. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, that's, I can start setting my sights on the park here real soon. So
nice. Awesome. Well, I've got a bunch of stuff. I've got a bunch of notes and a bunch of stuff on my list to dig into with you today. Cool. And I'm pretty excited about it. I don't think we'll have time to get to all of it. There's a lot we were emailing back and forth and a lot of interesting things popped up. So let's dive in and, we'll see where things go, and I'll check in with you in a little bit. And if there's anything that we haven't gotten to that you're excited to talk about, we can kind of shift gears. But
okay.
I would love to start by asking you about your high school baseball coach. We were emailing back and forth and you had a little note about how impactful that person was in your life and how that transformed you as a person. And that's something we've never talked about. I've never heard about your past athletic life or anything. So yeah, I'd love to hear about that and what made that person or that thought stand out when we were getting ready for this conversation.
Yeah. So I grew up on a farm outside of a small town in Iowa, actually. And baseball was very important. It was so big in our hometown, and this is a town of 300 people, so like small. And the cafe was called the Home Plate, the bar was called the Dugout, and the gas station was called the Shortstop. And so that kind of highlights how important it was. And here we are, a small school in Northwest Iowa, and we have won a ton of state championships. Okay. And so growing up, like, that's kind of all I knew was baseball. Like that's what we kind of lived for. And my dad was a really good high school baseball player as well. And
hey friends, I hope you enjoyed that teaser of this week's follow-up. If you want full access to follow-ups, you can sign up for $5 a month on Patreon at patreon.com/thenuggetclimbing. Or you can go to thenuggetclimbing.com and click on the support the podcast button at the top. If you're on your smartphone, just tap those two little lines at the top of the page and you'll see the button in the drop-down menu. $5 per month gets you access to all follow-up calls, past and future. As long as you are a member, you'll have access to all of them. As you just heard in the teaser, I've been recording some follow-up conversations with past guests on the show to talk about what they've been up to lately and to go even further into the weeds on a specific topic than we typically would on the podcast. Follow-ups are 20 to 30 minutes in length, occasionally longer, and I will be releasing one every other week to make sure I always have plenty of podcast guests to follow up with. If you sign up for follow-up calls, what you are really doing is supporting the regular podcast and helping me continue to chase down interesting guests so I can pick their brains and bring you new nuggets every week. And by signing up on Patreon, you get some bonus content to look forward to as well. In addition to getting access to follow-ups, I will also let you know who's coming up on the show, and you can submit patron questions for upcoming guests, as you have undoubtedly heard in other episodes of the podcast. $5 per month. Think of it as buying me a beer at the local brewery after a long day of climbing. Whether or not you choose to sign up, thank you for listening, and feel free to share the podcast with your friends or leave a rating on your listening app. It truly helps, and I appreciate you for tuning in. I am very grateful for you guys. Much love to you all. We'll see you next time.
Move with the rhythm. Shake it up, stop when the clock hits 13. Sing 1, 2, 3, 4. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it.